Great morning, great morning. This is Shannon Ivor, your lifestyle and business strategist of LazyEntrepreneurTV.com. I am going to elaborate a little bit on the video I did on what I call my BRS strategy. This video is in reference to a couple of questions that I've had where people are using this technique and another technique, or maybe even some of their own, but they struggled in a couple of areas. So I wanted to elaborate on a couple of those things. This strategy is very simple, something to follow. It's great for beginners, but even better for those who are still maybe even trying to master their own strategy. Until you actually learn divergence and strength and what all those things mean, sometimes a simple strategy like this works best for you. I'm going to start just by going over this one here. I am currently in this trade and in profit, and I'm going to show you what I did. If you didn't see the first video on the setup of the BRS strategy and that information, just click the link below to review that video before you get into this one, because this is just an extension of that one. So if you did your setup and you saved your defaults, then you should be able to click on this little load chart icon here. Click that and just select whatever you titled it, and however you put it, it will automatically pull up the indicators that you saved in that. So before I get to the one that I'm currently in, let's see. We're going to show you some of the things that you're looking for. So with the Harmonic Scanner, those of you that are familiar with the Harmonic Scanner, you know that there are signals that come in. They'll give you the entry, your take profits, and your stop loss for you to just literally copy those numbers into your MetaTrader 4 and begin. But there are certain things that you look for, because all signals aren't going to immediately go into profit. You need to understand risk management and lots and leverage, all those things, in order to know whether or not this is a good trade for you to enter. There are a couple of things that I wanted to show you. First of all, I know a lot of people use the MACD signal, and then there are some people that just don't know how to understand it. You can always find trainings on the MACD, but I'll show you a simple way here that I learned from Tracy Walker on how to spot divergence even in the Harmonic Scanner. If you're looking at this, and you could literally somewhat use the same strategy as we did with setting up the BRS and checking those entries here. So your first step, excuse me, to check the divergence, you're looking at what the market has been doing between your X and your Ds. And the X and Ds, these are the patterns for the Harmonic Scanner. The XABCD is a typical Harmonic Scanner. There are several other scanners, but this is the one that we work from, is the XABCD scanner. So what you'll do is you'll take your vertical line, and once again you're going to place it right here on this X, but not within that, on your relative strength. You see these little, what do you call it, hash marks here, or the crossbar that's right here on the X, and those hash, you just come down, make sure that that remains on your X here, and you just click on the RSI wherever that is. Let me darken that up, change the colors of that so you can actually see it. And so you would actually just mark your relative strength, or your RSI, based on the location of your X, and then you'll do the same thing on your D under the relative strength. And you want to make sure that you're hitting the highest point or the lowest point, wherever it really is on that D. And sometimes it's not exact, it's in between. But this was pretty cool when I first saw her do this, is that now you will go from the point of the X and you will draw a trend line. Let's try a trend line and see how that goes. From the spot of the X all the way over to where your D is. And were we at the tip of that? Yep, so it looks like we were at the tip of that. So we're going to grab that and move that up. I hate when that does that. I'm still getting used to my trend lines. Let's delete that because I did not mean to do an extension of that. And let's click here and move it up to the top part, which is here. And so let's darken that, change that color. I like and darken that up. So to see whether or not there's divergence is, you see this line here that's at the bottom of the pattern, this blue line here that's at the bottom of the pattern. It is going from low to high, but your relative strength is also going from low to high. Divergence is when the market and your strength is going in two different directions. And so because they're going in the same directions, this does not have divergence. However, that does not mean that it's a good entry. Of course, if you're still using the BRS strategy, you could do that. The divergence just simply tells you the strength of it and confirms that this is about to turn around, that the market is about to make a change. So again, just another confirmation, but this is to answer the question for those that didn't quite understand the MACD and didn't know what divergence looked like. But divergence is when the market is going in the opposite direction of where strength is going. And at that point, you can determine whether or not this is going to be a strong turnaround or not. But again, that's just for those people that wanted to know how to read divergence if you weren't using the MACD. And then here, with our Bollinger Band, the relative strength, and all of these things lining up, you can tell whether or not this is still a good entry or not. The one that I'm currently in, let's see, where did I pick that up? And typically I only do like the 15-minute. My personal goal is to increase my trading account by 20% each day. And again, anytime that you're doing anything within the market, discipline is a factor. I also wanted to mention something that I did mention last time. When you're going through the scanner looking for trades, typically the first 5 are about as good as it gets. If you continue to go down, you'll notice that most of those have already triggered or have taken profit. And see, this one's take profit 1 and 2. And so look through the first 5 to find a trade that you are good to go on. So this is the one that I'm currently in. So I'll show you a couple of things now. So if we just simply went off the fact that we're using the BRS strategy, let's throw our lines on there. And again, if you don't know what I mean by that, let's just go back to the first video, and you can click the link below to do that. Now I'm adding the extra line because if you wanted to check divergence within this, you can do that as well. And so we're just going to make sure that we're lined up straight down. And again, this is just simply for the BRS strategy. And B stands for Bollinger Band, the R is for relative strength, and the S just for the stochastics. So now that we have all those lined up, we're going to pull out a little bit just so that we can see exactly where the line is on the D. So your D is your entry point, and what we want from the D point is to make sure that you have touched your entry line, which is this green line right here, and that also it touches the Bollinger Band, which it does. Your D point touches your price line and your Bollinger point. So that's a good sign that this market is going to continue up to a take profit. But what we really want to know is whether or not your relative strength. So for a sale, you want to make sure that it's oversold. Once it's oversold, you start looking for the buy. And so you look at your stochastics and your RSI. Your RSI should be below 30 and your stochastics should be below 20. But the magic is in the cross. So if this cross is going down, then, and we're looking at the blue line here as far as it crossing and which direction that blue line is going. So it crossed the red going down, but now it's crossing going back up. So even though your stochastics is pointing up, your relative strength is pointing down. Is this still a possibility of a good trade? Yes, it is, because it's going to eventually hit your take profit. But this is one of the things that is quite interesting. Your fractal here is still showing that it's a sell. And again, that's all explained in the first video, is that we haven't crossed right into where this is going to shoot up and continue yet, and your RSI is still pointing down. But this is interesting. This, if you are familiar, this is courtesy of BBurrell. the Fibonacci tool, which is something that I have really just started looking into and learning. This little pitchfork here, if you click that and go down to Fib retracement, this is the tool that we're going to use. And when you hear people say just throw the fibs on it, if you think you've missed a trade or you think you've missed the opportunity to get in, then just throw the fibs on it. So what we'll do is from C to D, you're going to throw your fibs on that from the high to the low. And again, if this was in a sale, then you would do the same thing from C to D. So you're going to always draw your fibs from C to D. And so what that means is that once you grab the tool, now I'm not the best at drawing this tool yet, but it's literally going to be from tip to tip, from tip to tip. And when we say tip, we're talking about where the tip of the candle is on the C. Let me see if I can get back just to zoom in a little bit. Okay, there's a better way. Let's go this way. And so the tip is going to be right there, but in order to not hide it, we're going to go just a little bit to the left on that and then bring it down to the D, a little to the right, just to make sure that we're at the tip. So what you'll do is you'll click here. I want the pitchfork. I want Fib retracement. And take the Fib retracement tool. Again, we're going from the top of the C. And that crossbar shows me exactly where that is. And click there, and we're just going to drag that down. If that happens, sometimes it releases before you actually do that. And just go back. I'm going to delete that because it does look like it's two of them. And start again. So grab that. And just bring it down to just the other side of the D at the tip. Now, if it doesn't look like that's at the tip, then you can again just adjust it, and we'll go there. Okay, that's good. Okay, so you throw your fibs on it. And so what we're going to do to make this a little bit clearer, and I just love, if you have not had a training with BBurrell, please by all means look her up and definitely get on that. I am still excited about taking her actual Fibonacci class, but I haven't done that yet. And this is just from basic training on how she does the harmonic scanner. So we're going to change it up. There's some things that you do to make it a little more visible. I'm going to do like she does and just make it all black. But in order to make it more visible and clear for you to see, we're going to change your labels to right. And let me go back and show you what happens. So right now the numbers are here. You don't see anything over here, but once I click your labels to right, you'll see those numbers jump over here. And then we're going to change it from the middle to the top so that it'll go to the top of that line and make it a lot more visible. And then we're going to extend it. Once you extend the lines, it's going to take it all the way over. And that way it's not in the midst of your pattern and it's not jumbled up with your other letters and all. And we're just going to click OK and take another look at that. One of the other things that she suggested, if you wanted to make your entry just a little more clearer, you click on this spindle here and you can change your 23 to the green. The 23 is going to be your entry point. So as you can see, even throwing the fibs on it, the entry and all of your take profits, all of your points are very similar to what the scanner has already given you. But let's just say this triggered and you wanted to wait to get into this. Now, if you had waited to get into this, here's twice that it came up to hit your take profit. And again, your 23 is your entry on the fibs and your take profit is going to be your 382. Now, again, most people, if it's just depends on your risk management, your balance, your account balance, and different things as to whether or not you go ahead after you've made these other confirmations to get in and write it up. But there's always going to be some pullback. Some people can afford the pullback and some people can't. So this is where your risk management come in. And if you can see now, even though we've had these other two little drops here, now the fractal has appeared, that this is confirmed to be a buy. Now, again, when you see the first video, you'll see that this is a buy because the entry is below, the stop is below the entry, and your next candle confirmed. So the next candle after your D point will confirm the direction the market is intending to go. So there's so many confirmations within this, but again, as you get more familiar with trading and how to use the harmonic scanner and your indicators and even do market structure, this will all make more sense. This is just basic charting to help you get started and get you into profit as quickly as possible. And once again, when you're first getting started, always, always, always practice in your demo. There's so many different strategies out there that you just want to take your time, find a strategy that works best for you, one that you understand, that comprehend, and don't jump from strategy to strategy every week because you haven't really confirmed what works and what doesn't work. But stick with one strategy and keep working, maybe add to it or take away from it, but just one step at a time, guys. This is a wonderful, awesome, profitable investment, and it takes time. It's just, you know, when you first started working your job, you weren't great at your job day one, especially with no experience. However, once you gain the experience, the training, and the knowledge that was necessary, you probably end up mastering your job. And maybe 1, 2, 3 years, some people 5, 10 years later, they had a great promotion or whatever. But anyway, this takes time. This is not network marketing as you know it. This is not a sales strategy to get anyone to doing anything. This is something you can learn, a skill you learn independently that can literally change the course of your financial life and legacy. So really take your time and invest. Do the work. Do the work. Get into your training. Work in your demo. Practice strategies that really, really work for you. This I can quickly do first thing in the morning. Get my profits in, get out, and I'm done for the day because my goal for the day is to increase my account by 20%. Some people is 10 pips or 50 pips. Mine is 20%. So I could do little scaps like this or little issues like this every day and literally make my 20% first thing in the morning. Again, the best times to hit these markets, 7 to 11 if you're an early riser, actually 4 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock if you really want to get in on the peak in it. But most mornings, 7 to 11, the market is really good. But you can scalp and you can throw fibs on it all day long and catch an entry. So once again, your 23 is going to be your entry point. Your 382 is going to be your take profit. And the 0 right here, you can't really see it because this is actually crossing over, but there's a 0 here. And if you wanted to grab it just to, let's see, if I were to have to stay on the tip, let's see if I bring it in a little bit. Let me see if that helped me to see it better. So if you're struggling to see it, okay, so that 0 there, 79538 would be my stop loss. So again, your 23 is your entry point, your 382 is your take profit, and your 0 is your stop loss. And that's how you would enter it into the MetaTrader 4 when you are going to take this entry. And so if you want, come back and look at this one. It is November 8th on here, 7:30 a.m. I don't have my time set, so it's Central Time on here. But see which direction this goes. As you can see, it's just kind of not necessarily consolidating, but sitting there for a moment, but it's going to continue to go up. We've already got the confirmation. It touched your price entry. It touched your Bollinger, your band. It was below 30, below 20, and it crossed and is going up. Your RSI is actually starting to balance out and at the tip up in a minute, and this will go into profit. But if you didn't want to do all of that and you saw this, you can set it and forget it. Go ahead and enter your 23 on your MetaTrader as a sell stop. I mean a buy stop, pardon me, as a buy stop, and go ahead and get in on this trade. And then do your take profit, 7994. It's not going to trigger until it actually hits this price point here, 79807. So you can literally set it and just go on about your business. Is every trade going to be a profit? No. So the disclaimer is always, trading is very risky, which is why we emphasize and promote risk management, knowing exactly what your profit margins should be for the day. Have a trading plan in place, follow your trading plan and stick to it, because you know this could potentially be a $15 profit, but whatever the market does, could turn around. You also want to always do trailing stop losses or move your stop loss. Once you've gotten into profit, you can adjust your stop loss so that you're not losing all of your profit. But it's just the joy of the trade, not to let your emotions get involved. As you get more proficient in it, you would definitely be more profitable. You get to a point your balance is higher. You can increase your lot size. There's so much that you can do, but risk management and leveraging your lots, leveraging your account is so very important. So I hope this was helpful. I believe that was the only thing I wanted to talk about is just the Fibonacci training. And I will see if I can reference BBurrell's video, because she's an awesome trainer when it comes to the Fibonacci. And if you click the link below, I'll redirect you to her, excuse me, video also, because she has, excuse me, she has notes on the Harmonic Scanner with Fibonacci by BBurrell and the rules of using the Fibonacci. So I definitely want to make sure that we get that over to you. And let me see while we're here if I can find one just to show you. And then there are times that you'll be able to look at it and immediately tell whether or not you can eyeball it better. Some of the things that I think people are really excited about when it comes to trading is being able to what they call naked trade, that now you're so familiar, your eyes are set, and you definitely know what the market is doing. That is not, that you don't have to throw these indicators up, but of course you can't go wrong when it comes to the Fibonacci. That the 23 entry and the 382 is just amazing. Pardon me, guys. I am so sorry about all the clearing of the throat here. And let's see. That's doing the same thing. No divergence here. Did I? I should have looked for one before. Let's see what else is going on. But I think I said this, but just make sure that as you're going through after the first 5, the further you go down and looking at the charts, you'll notice that they've already hit take profit. Yeah. So you don't necessarily have to draw the lines. If you watch your hash marks, you can actually follow from one point to the next when you're looking for the divergence on the pattern. And it looks like most of these are, okay, so that's one. Stop it. Let's take you down here. So that is a pretty good example here. So from X to D, if you draw a trend line from X to D and see this is going from a high to a low, but if you look at the pattern up here, it's going from a low to a high. So it's going in opposite directions, which tells me that this is divergence. Now, if this is a trade that we could have taken, the D here, it was a little tricky because the D here, if you see, it did hit your Bollinger Band and the price entry. It's right on the line of 30, not necessarily below. And then if you look at your stochastics, at the price entry, it wasn't below. And your blue strength line was on the bottom. It didn't cross to go up until about here. And then now we're sitting below here, and it crossed. So that would have been a good opportunity to wait. Even though you see that this is going to be a buy confirmed by this next candle, all these other entries would have said I would not have gotten in just yet. Once this crossed to go up, I would have looked at it again. Now we're below 20 here and we're below 30 there. So these are little things that even though you're getting confirmations, you want to make sure that you have those 4 confirmations before you get in. You did touch here, and then look what happened. The moment that dipped and this crossed to come up, then it immediately went into a buy, actually not far from the original entry point, and went past your take profit 1. So just always keep in mind, look at those things. Don't just, the harmonic scanner is amazing, but when you know what you're looking for, you'll have way more profits than losses. So just make sure that you're taking the time to learn the differences. And again, this is just one simple way to see if there's divergence, which is another indication that the market is about to change. And just all of those little things. We'll go back and peek at the one that we were in, and then I'll go ahead and close this out. And guys, if you ever have any questions or need any clarity on anything, please just drop your comments there. The main thing I'd say is get plugged into your team trainings and the things that are going on within IML and Trade Nation. If you are looking at getting started and you have some questions, again, drop a comment below, or you can reach out to me. My email is info@shannonivory.com, or you can visit my website at shannonivory.com and go to our Wealth Building Academy link to find out more information about becoming a customer and an investor or trader with Trade Nation and IML. So this is the one that we're in, and just to kind of look back at, we're playing around now, but this is GPD odd, or you'll hear people say GA as short. And this one has all of the confirmation, so it crossed a little here. It's still aiming up. RSI is still kind of playing around with it. As you can see, it's dancing and bouncing back and forth, but this will hit your take profit 1. That's your 382. And that's it, guys. So hopefully this was helpful, and I hope I answered some of the questions that you had in reference to the strategies and divergence and all of that. You don't necessarily have to do that, but if you just want to make sure, it's good practice to eyeball it and be able to know what you're looking for, and to just increase your trading knowledge at all costs. You can always go back to your basics 1 through 4 in technical analysis. There are people who have been doing this for over a year, made 6 figures in less than a year, but they're still learning. They're still going in and they're going back to the basics to make sure that they're still on track. So once you get a strategy that works, guys, don't change it. Just start increasing your lots and your leverage and your risk management, and you'll definitely make the money quick. Again, Shannon Ivory signing off here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, please drop your comments below. Have a better than great day. It's Transformation Thursday.